Shonda had written that, Charlotte arrived, and the real Charlotte did arrive and was married within 3 or 4 hours of arriving in England. And the British government, or George, somebody, provided her with a wedding gown. That is true. That definitely happened. This wedding gown, the real Charlotte, her gown was encrusted with jewels, and it was too big for her because she had been sick on the ship ride over the channel. Who wouldn't be sick coming across the channel? So she'd lost a lot of weight, and the gown didn't fit. So Shonda incorporated that into the story and changed it slightly so that Michelle's character, the Dowager Princess, would have had a dress made, a British dress, in our style, as she says so well. And then Tom Verica made fun of me because he thought that dress was too pretty. He was like, Lynn, it's so pretty. You can't make an ugly dress. What's wrong with you? Basically. So if you look at the love scene, the first meeting of George and Charlotte, you'll see that the bottom of her dress has the Tudor rose and shamrocks, like all the iconography of the British Empire, the British Isles, which don't think we're so smart. I copied that. I went to Kensington Palace and I saw Queen Elizabeth I, Queen Elizabeth II, our queen, my queen, Queen Elizabeth's coronation gown, and her gown had that embroidery, and I sort of copied it and changed it, but basically got the idea from the coronation gown. So it's very subliminal. You see it just when she's climbing on the wisteria, you see all that embroidery, all hand done by Tuan Lentes, who was our head of embroidery on the show. So yeah, so that was sort of the British gown. And then Shonda in the script had written that Charlotte says, I brought a gown, from the modiste in Paris. And so the thing is how do you make that transition from one gown to another and have it be more spectacular than the first? And we figured it should just be heavily embellished and the French gown has a very different embroidery on the front that feels much more like a filigree and is heavily encrusted with jewels. And then I thought I had to cut the cape shorter than I wanted it to be because we were in Oxford filming and the aisle of the church wasn't long enough for the gown for the cape I wanted. But how do you have Charlotte dancing in a gown, her wedding gown, but also have a giant train? So I pitched, let's add a cape, like an over cape for when she walks down the aisle. That gave us the length we needed for the the over the head, the down shot. And also I can pop a big giant sort of, stand-up collar and just make her look more regal. So it sort of felt very like Queen Elizabeth I, when you see those images and she has that ruff around her neck. I wanted something that felt like that, different period, but had that feeling.